Hi, this is YG. I'm your sourcing agent. This video is about Kunming, and it is about flowers. In 2025, I traveled to Kunming multiple times just to investigate China's flower supply chain. I attended the Kunming Flower Expo. I visited international companies, state-owned enterprises, private suppliers, family farms, packing workshops, tropical plant growers, and logistic companies. I try to understand how this industry really works. I remember attending a business dinner with people from the flower industry from all over the world. Some people said Kunming could become the next Amsterdam of flowers, but is that really true? When people talk about Amsterdam and flowers, they are usually talking about the Dutch flower trading system around Aalsmeer and the Royal Floral Holland. For decades, the Netherlands has built one of the world's most powerful flower trading networks. Auction systems, global buyers, cold chain logistics, standardized grading, and international distribution. So when people compare Kunming with Amsterdam, they are not only comparing flowers, they are comparing an entire trading system. To understand Kunming, we first need to understand Yunnan. Yunnan is center of China's fresh flower industry. Its climate, altitude, sunlight, and day-night temperature difference make it ideal for flower growing. But Kunming is not just one city. In the flower industry, Kunming represents the production power of the whole province. The flowers may be growing across different parts of Yunnan, but many of them eventually come back to Kunming for trading, pricing, packing, and shipping. At the center of this system is Dounan Flower Market in Kunming. Public data shows that Yunnan produces around half of China's cut flowers. In 2024, Dounan traded around 14 billion flower stems with a transaction value of about 11 billion RMB. More than 70% of China's fresh cut flower trading passes through this market, and flowers from here are sold across China and exported to more than 50 countries and regions. So Dounan is not just a flower market, it is a pricing center, a logistic hub, and a key link in China's flower supply chain. But I did not only visit Dounan, I look at other part of the chain. Lynch is probably one of the earliest large international flower companies to enter the Chinese market. They opened their farm in China back in 2002. If you buy cut flowers from a supermarket in Australia, there is a good chance that some of those flowers were produced here. As an international company, Lynch has a very complete management system. They have an office center in Dounan, their own production bases, and their own packing facilities. Dounan office mainly handles administrative work and e-commerce operations. They currently have 4 production bases, located in Yiliang, Lufeng, Changkou, and Shuanghe. Each base has its own strong flower varieties. They have introduced equipment and management systems from the Netherlands, and international experts are stationed there for long-term supervision and management. In addition, they also have their own trading and packing base, which handles import and export trade, as well as the sorting and repacking of flowers purchased from outside growers. So whether you look at it from the perspective of planting, production, or trading, Lynch is a very mature company. In general, state-owned companies also a comprehensive player. They usually have their own planting, packing, and sales system. In some cases, they may even have more advanced infrastructure. Of course, state-owned companies also have their common weaknesses, such as too many layers of management. Flower production is only a small branch under the larger group company, so it did not receive enough resources or attention. I will talk about the problems I encounter when working with a state-owned company in another video. But in the flower industry, I personally trust private companies over state-owned companies. Private companies are much more diverse compared with international companies or state-owned companies. They are usually much smaller, and they often focus only on the business they are really good at. Many growers only plant specific flowers. For example, I visited one grower who only grows lisianthus and carnations. Of course, the scale was much smaller. The greenhouses almost looked like vegetable houses, but the managers had very rich experience, and the flower quality was really high. That being said, the quality of private growers varies a lot. Some are excellent, while others can be really poor. One interesting thing I noticed is that many Phalaenopsis growers are Taiwanese family business. A few families have almost dominated the global market for this product. So if you want to buy orchids or anthuriums, buying from Taiwanese suppliers is usually a good choice. This type of company does not do any planting or production. Instead, they collect semi-processed flowers from different growers, then pack and ship them according to customer requirements. These companies are very flexible in trading because they are not limited by their own production. They also usually have the qualifications and capability to handle international trade. I'm currently working with one of the companies like this. When we compare the Dutch flower system with China's flower supply chain, the biggest difference is not just where the flowers are grown. It is how the whole business is organized. The Dutch flower system is more like a global trading hub. It buys flowers from different parts of the world, brings them into a highly organized commercial system, and then sells them again to global markets. In this model, flowers are not only agricultural products, they are tradable goods. The value comes from grading, auction, logistics, standards, and global distribution. China's flower supply chain is quite different. It is more closely connected to local production and the domestic market. In places like Yunnan, flowers are grown and traded through markets like Dounan, and then quickly distributed across China. So in a simplified way, the Dutch model feels more like a merchant, and the Chinese model feels more like a farmer. This difference also affects many details: how flowers are graded, what kind of flowers are more popular, how production is organized, and how the final value is created. The Dutch system is built around global trade and standardization. The Chinese system is built around production, speed, and a massive local consumer market. So, when we look at flowers, we're not only looking at a product, we are looking at two very different supply chain systems. Hope you like this video. I will see you in the next one.